Good afternoon, students. I'm so happy to welcome you for Zoom class. Today we are going to discuss fungi, in which what we are going to say milestone of fungi and general characteristic features of fungi, and third one is the methods of reproduction in fungi, right? Actually, fungi is a eukaryotic organism. It is a achlorophyllous organism because it does not produce food material, hence it is a heterotrophic organism, right? So the study of fungi is called mycology. The study of fungi is called mycology, right? What is fungi? Fungi is a achlorophyllous organism. What is its nature, mode of origin? It is a eukaryotic in nature, eukaryotic cell. It may be originated as a unicellular to multicellular organism, right? So the number of the members of fungi is varied from one species to another species in mode of origin, right? So that is called fungi. So the study of fungi is called mycology. Sometimes the question maybe it's going to be asked, what is mycology? The study of fungi. The study of fungi is called mycology. Actually, the term fungi, which is derived from Latin word, right? It is derived from Latin word. That means mushroom, right? Fungi means mushroom. The word mycology, when we talk about mycology, it's a branch of biological science that deals with the study of fungi, is called mycology. Actually, the term mycology is derived from Greek word. It's not a Latin word, it's a Greek word. That is mycos. It's a Greek word mycology. That means mycos. Mycos means a study of fungi, and logos means a study, right? So it's a Greek word. The term mycology is derived from two Greek words, namely mycos and logos. You know very well. The mycos, that means mycos, that means fungi, mushroom, and logos means simply study. The study of fungi, the study of mushroom is called as simply mycology, right? So this is simply something about fungi. What is fungi and what is a study of fungi? That is a mycology, right? And next, what we are going to see in the chapter. The first topic is milestone in fungi. Milestone. The second topic is general characteristic features of fungi. General characters. And third one, economic importance of fungi. That is a reproduction, and finally we are going to have economic importance, right? So this is a subtopics that we are going to see in fungi. The first subtopic is the milestone in fungi, and second one is the general characteristics of fungi. What is its nature? What is its structure? The next, what is the method of reproduction in fungi? And next, we are going to have economic importance of fungi. So this is a topic that we are going to see, right, in fungi. So first of all, let me take milestone of fungi. Actually, the study of fungi, which was first initiated by Mycelium. I'm talking about milestone in fungi. Milestones in fungi. It was first initiated by Mycelium. Was the first man to be studied clearly on spore culture. In the year of 1729, right? Was the first man to be studied on spore culture on fungi. So hence he was the founder of fungi. I mean the founder of mycology, right? I repeat once again. In the year of 1729, Mycelium who demonstrated an experiment on study of fungi by using a culture that is a spore culture, right? Was the first man to be initiated a studying of fungi, right, in plant kingdom, right? So hence Mycelium who became as a founder of mycology. The next 1767, right? Another scientist who came after Mycelium, Fontana. So he was the man to prove that fungi can cause disease in plants, right? Fontana who proved that fungi can cause disease in plants. Next, 1873, another scientist who came after the work of Fontana, Blackley, right? To prove that fungi can cause allergy in human being, right? Fungi can cause allergy in human being. I repeat once again, Blackley, the year of 1873, who proved that, who demonstrated that fungi could cause allergy in human being. Next, another scientist who came after the work of Blackley, right? Who stated that fungi could cause allergy in human being. Blacksley, in the year of 1904, namely Blacksley. Who demonstrated that Heterothallism. Heterothallism means the fungi which is able to produce sex organ, I mean Anthridium archegonium, in different species or different organism, right? So the sex organ, I mean the Anthridium and Oogonium, which are originated in different species, different organism, different thallus of fungi, right? That is called the heterothallism. Hetero means two different. Hetero means different. Here, students, please understand. Hetero means different, and thallus means thallus. So the thallus which produces Anthridium and Archegonium are different thallus. Simply I can say the development of Anthridium and Archegonium are different thallus of the fungi, right? That is called heterothallism. It was first reported by Blacksley in the year of 1904, right? The next last scientist, there are many scientists who are working in mycology, right? But few scientists are given here. In the year of 1952, Pondokor and Robert. There are two people who joined the proposed. I repeat it again, Pondokor and Robert. They are jointly proposed parasexuality. They are jointly proposed parasexuality. Right, so this is a milestone in fungi. First of all, let me take Mycelium. Was the founder of mycology, right? Just let me show you. Is the man who initiated spore culture in laboratory and related to fungi, right? Was the first one to be initiated a studying of fungi, right? Namely Mycelium, right? Was the founder. Is the father of mycology globally, right? In India. In India, the father of mycology, Butler. Butler was a man who initiated a study of fungi in India, right? First, hence he became a father of mycology in India. The first scientist that we discussed globally is the father of mycology, right? But here, this person was considered to be as father of mycology in India. I'd like to talk about him because he was the first man to be established in IARI, Indian Agriculture Research Institute, was initiated by him, right? So Butler who introduced IARI, right? It was started in Busa, in Bihar, but recently it was shifted from Bihar to New Delhi, right? It is called the IARI, Indian Agriculture Research Institute, right? That was established by Butler. Is the father of mycology in India, right? So next we pass on to another scientist. I'd like to show you Fontana. Fontana is a man who reported that Fungi could cause a disease in plants. Students, we are discussing about the milestone of fungi. I would like to show you some scientists related. Fontana was a man who first reported that fungi which are able to cause a disease. He stated that fungi could cause a disease in human being, right? In plants also, right? The next third scientist, Blackley, who stated that fungi could cause allergy in human being in the year of 1873, right? Please understand, is a Blackley, right? Who stated that fungi could cause allergy in human being. The next, Blacksley was a man who stated heterotalism, right? Heterotalism, the term heterotalism, which refers to the presence of antheridium and oogonium. I mean, male sex organ and female sex organ produced by different thallus of same species or different species, right? So that is called heterotalism. The presence of sex organ like antheridium and oogonium, right? That is called heterotalism. It was first introduced by Blacksley. I'm talking about Blacksley, right? Next, Pontogon and Roper, who stated that parasexuality occurs in plant. I mean, in fungi. So the fungi, it carries out reproduction and sometimes parasexuality, right? In fungi. So this is a short introduction of milestone in fungi, right? So next we pass on to general characteristic which is of fungi. I'm talking about general characteristic which is of fungi. So first of all, fungi, as I said, it is made up of, the first point, it is made up of a thin-walled, very filamentous-like structure. If you take it, this is a filamentous-like structure. Fungi, it is made up of filamentous-like structure. I'd like to show you the picture that you can understand clearly. The study of fungi, as already said, this is one of the fungi which is very familiar. So mostly we are using as a edible pot, right? Mushroom. I heard about anywhere mushroom. It is a cultivable fungus, right? And edible fungus. And when you take a cross section of the fungus, if you take a cross section, students, please understand, it is very important and interesting area. If you take a cross section of the fungus, you can see the filamentous-like structure, which is very thin-walled structure, right? When you take a cross section and kept under the microscope, you can see the body of the fungus. It consists of simply filamentous-like structure that is called a hypha. What is it called? It is called a hypha. Or hyphae. What is hyphae? Hyphae is a thallus-like structure. I mean, it is a thread-like structure that appears loosely with a thin-walled cell. Actually, its cell wall is made up of simply chitin. Its cell wall is made up of chitin. And one of the compound is associated with the chitin, that is a cellulose. Fungal cellulose. So there are two compounds are closely associated to form as a cell wall in case of fungi, right? That is the chitin, right? Now you can understand what we are discussing and where we are focusing, right? We are focusing the inner part of the fungus, right? Students, you can understand. Okay, now this is when you take a cross section of the fungus, you can see a fungus or fungi is made of this kind of structure that is called the hyphae. The hyphae, each one is known as the hyphae. Each one is called as hyphae or a hypha. A group of hypha which get to put together to form a simply loosely arrangements of a network or filamentous like structure that is called, the whole structure is called mycelium. Now mycelium is nothing but a group of hyphae which are interwoven, which are interconnected to form a net-like structure. The whole structure is called a mycelium. The mycelium simply it consists of a group of hyphae or a filamentous thread-like structures are associated which are loosely arranged. That is called a mycelium, right? The mycelium it is of several types, right? They are based on the presence of mycelium. The fungi it is of two types. They are lower fungus and the higher fungus. We are discussing about general characteristic features of fungi, right? Lower fungus and the higher fungus. Based on the presence of mycelium, right? So here, this mycelium, as I said, hypha, when you take a single hypha, you can see the presence of multinucleated and the presence of septate and aseptate condition, right? This is a mycelial cell. When you take a mycelium in lower forms and the higher forms, you can see. So the first diagram indicates the mycelium cell or the mycelium, which is nothing but it's a group of hyphae or thread-like structure which are interwoven to form a thread-like appearance in which the presence of nucleus, each one is nucleus. If these mycelial cells are having cell wall in between these two cells, right? Each one is known as a nucleus, right? So all the nucleus are separated by a cell wall. If the cell wall is present, here instead of cell wall, here we can use some terminological word that is a septa or septate. Septum is a singular, septate is a plural form, right? Septum and septate. Please make a difference. Septum from septate. Septum, it's a singular word, and septate is a plural form. Here, septum means the presence of wall in between the cell, right? Here you can see the first diagram that consists of a number of cells. All the cells are having, each cells are possessing a nucleus. And every cell is separated by the presence of cell wall. Instead of cell wall, we can use septate. Sure, we can say number of septate. So in every cell, you can find there is a very prominent structure that is called nucleus, right? So that is called this type of mycelium is found in only higher plants, right? Presence of septate mycelium found in only higher plants, whereas absence of septate, there is no presence of cell wall, because these mycelial cells which are possessing a number of nucleus, multinucleated without cell wall. Such a condition it is said to be as cenocytic condition. My dear students, please listen. Cenocytic. Cenocytic is a condition in which the mycelial cell possesses a number of nucleus without septate, without the wall formation. Here the second diagram in which you find there is no cell wall in between the nucleus, but the cell possesses, I mean the mycelial part possesses a number of nucleus by the absence of septate. I mean cell wall. Cell wall is not found. It is not laid down in between the nucleus. So this condition is a xenocytic. But the xenocytic is a characteristic which is of lower fungus. My dear students, you can classify easily fungi. It is up to they are lower fungus and the higher fungus. For that, I'd like to give example for each category. For lower fungus, I can say some example. Albugo. Albugo is a right example for lower fungus. Whereas in a higher fungus, you can say. For higher fungus, you can say Fusarium, right? Fusarium. Fusarium because it consists of a number of cells. Each cells are possessing nucleus along with the cell wall formation that occurs in between the nucleus, right? That is called a Fusarium. So generally, I'd like to talk about Mycelium is up to they are simply xenocytic condition, and that is found in only lower cases, lower fungus. There are some mycelium which are possessing without cell wall, but they may possess a number of nuclei. Such a condition is said to be a xenocytic condition. For that, just I have given example, albugo. When I take a cross section of albugo, you can see what is albugo, what is the nature of albugo. I'd like to draw. Now this is an albugo plant, right? Here you can see a number of nucleus, right? While taking cross section, when you take a cross section of the albugo, right, you can see many nucleus without cell wall. Such a condition is said to be xenocytic. I'm focusing xenocytic, right? Whereas a fusarium fungus, in which when you take a cross section of the plant, you can see a number of cell wall, right? A number of cell in mycelial part in which each cell possesses a nucleus. So that is the difference between septate mycelium and xenocytic condition. Septate or aseptate. Instead of xenocytic condition, I can say aseptate. A means absence. Septate means presence of wall, cell wall in between the nucleus. So here I can say one more word. I can say in classifying fungal based on the presence of mycelium, septate mycelium and aseptate mycelium, right? Instead of septate, right, I can say simply the presence of wall and aseptate condition, xenocytic condition. I mean absence of cell wall in between the nucleus, but the cell wall, only the outer covering you can see, but in between every nucleus you cannot find, you cannot see the presence of a cross wall in between the nucleus, right? That is a difference between septate mycelium and xenocytic mycelium, right? This is very important area to be concentrated. Please, students, concentrate. As I said, the cell wall of fungi is made up of chitin. What is chitin? It's a polysaccharide molecule. I'd like to talk about cell wall. I'm sorry. The cell wall of fungi. The cell wall of fungi is made up of chitin. What is chitin? Chitin is a polysaccharide compound, right? Chitin. And fungal cellulose. It is also associated fungal cellulose. Fungal cellulose. And one more word I can say. The body of the organism, right? Here the mode of generally it is a eukarpic in nature. Eukarpic. What is eukarpic? Simply, I like to talk about if you take any mycelial part. Now this is a mycelial or hyphae part. The whole structure which is going to convert, which is going to make or form or develop into reproductive structure. Reproductive structure that is called holocarp. Students, please understand that is called hollow. Hollow means the entire thallus of the fungus, which is converted into reproductive structure. I mean antheridium and oogonium or orchigonium, right? Antheridium and we are using here oogonium, antheridium for male and oogonium for female, right? So the entire structure which is converted into reproductive structure, that is called holocarp or holocarpy. But here eucarpic means some regions of the fungus, which are converted into reproductive structure, that is called a eucarpic region, right? Eucarpic form. Actually, the body of, I'm talking about body of the fungus, in which certain regions, certain areas, some area of the thallus of fungi, which are converted into reproductive structure, I mean for antheridium and oogonium, that is called a eucarpy. Whereas a holocarp means the entire thallus are converted into reproductive structure, right? During gamete formation. So that is called the eucarpy, right? So here fungi is a eucarpic form. My dear students, please understand, fungi is a eucarpic form of thallus, because certain region is going to only convert into reproductive structure. Next, mode of reproduction, methods of reproduction. My dear students, you are discussing about general characteristic which is right. Here the method of reproduction, there are several types. Here you can see it shows anamorph. The first category is anamorph. Anamorph means there is a asexual base. That means asexual base is nothing but it's a kind of base in which a fungi which reproduces by the formation of spore, right? By means of spore. That is called the asexual method, or it is also known as the anamorph phase, right? And one more category, that is a telomorph. A telomorph means reproduction is carried out by sexual gametes, right? By the fusion of male and female gamete. And that is a sexual phase. So there are two phases are playing important role in formation of, in making in next generation. That is a first one is anamorph and the second is a telomorph. Anamorph is a method of reproduction in which asexual phase is carried out. Asexual phase is involved, right, in making next generation. Whereas a telomorph means there is a reproduction is carried out by a sexual phase. So there are two phases are playing in fungi. Hence, it is known as a holomorph. Students, please make a difference between anamorph and telomorph. Here, the fungus method of reproduction is so both phases are involved, right, in mode of reproduction. That is a holomorph. What is the holomorph? Both sexual method and asexual phases are involved in mode of reproduction. It is called the holomorph, right, my dear students? So this is very interesting area in fungi, right? So this is about simply general characteristic which is of fungi, right? And in formation of gametes, there are so many types. There are isogamous, anisogamous, zoogamous. So many methods are involved here. So this is a general characteristic which is of fungus. I would like to review once again to you. First of all, the fungi, it is made up of simply hypha. A group of hypha is nothing but a thin-walled filamentous-like structure, that is a hypha. A group of hypha are interconnected or interwoven to form as a mycelium. Based on the presence of mycelium, it is up to they are septate mycelium and sinusoid mycelium, or septate or aseptate. For septate, I can say presence of cell wall. There is aseptate means absence of cell wall. For that, I can say I have given example albugo for air plants. Air plant is for example of septate mycelium. For that example, fusary was given, right? And talking about cell wall, the cell wall is made up of chitin, right? Along with you can see the presence of fungal cellulose. And the nature of body of fungi is, thallus is a eukarphy. What is eukarphy? A particular region, some region of fungus or thallus or mycelium are converted into reproductive structure, that is called the eukarpy. Whereas the whole structure is converted into reproductive structure, that is a holocarp. The next methods of reproduction, it is up to they are sexual method, the asexual. Asexual is carried out by formation of simply spores. They can say reproduction takes place by means of spore formation, right? That is called anamorph. And xenomorph means sexual reproduction takes place by presence of gamete, by the fusion of male and female gamete. So both phases are taking place. Both phases are involved in mode of reproduction, that is called follow. So this is a general characteristic which is of fungi that we discussed, right? But next we pass on to simply methods of reproduction. It is very interesting area, my dear students. Methods of reproduction. Students, please understand, I am going to discuss with you reproduction in fungus. Generally, reproduction it is of three types. Reproduction, it's a process, it's a phenomenon that occurs in all the living organism, right? In which fungi which reproduces vegetatively, right? That is called a vegetative. So generally there are three types of reproduction. The first category is vegetative reproduction. The second one is asexual method. And third one is sexual method. So there are three types of reproductions are taking place in fungi. First one is a vegetative, second one is a sexual, third one is a asexual and a sexual. First, let me take first of all a vegetative mode of reproduction. Actually, vegetative means a vegetative part, the entire thallus or part of thallus is converted into reproductive structure by which new organisms are formed, right? That is a vegetative structure. So here I would like to show you this vegetative reproduction takes place by following method. The first category is a budding. This kind of mode, fungi which reproduces by the formation of bud-like structure in fungus, that is a budding method. It is one of the vegetative method of reproduction, right? That you can see in Saccharomyces, shall I can say yeast. In yeast plant that you can see. And second one is a fission. A second method is a fission method. Fission is also in Saccharomyces. Fission is also reported in case of Saccharomyces, right? Tell you later, right? And just let me connect budding with the diagram, right? So you can understand, and seeing the diagram, you can understand. Students, please understand this is a budding, right? In which you can find, I'm talking about vegetative mode of reproduction. Here, the picture shows clearly. The first diagram is a yeast. This is a nature of yeast cell, right? In which there is a bud-like growth which initiates by the formation of cytokinesis and karyokinesis. Plasmokinesis. So the first, there are two divisions are taking place. The first division is, division of cytoplasm, right? Here, this portion is the cytoplasm, and this is the structure is the nucleus, right? Here, the nucleus structure is the first divides, right? And the cytoplasm. So, cytokinesis and karyokinesis. When we talk about the body, we talk about budding. The picture shows in first diagram, it's a nature of generally you can see the structure of yeast cell, and second you can see nucleus which starts dividing. And the third picture, third diagram explains after division of nucleus, the central portion is called nucleus. Nucleus is divided and followed by cytokinesis. I mean, cytoplasm is also divided, right? And in fourth diagram, you can see there are two cells, cell number 1 and cell number 2. So by this method, you can see budding method, right? So budding is a reported case of yeast cell. So this is a right example for budding. Yeast is a right example for budding, right? Students, please understand what is called budding. Sometimes you can expect this question in examination point of view. Next we pass on to fission. Now fission is nothing but it's one of the method of vegetative reproduction in which here you can say division of same cytoplasm and nucleus, right? This is a fission. Fission, it is similar to that of binary fission in bacteria, right? Already we have discussed a mode of reproduction in bacteria. Please remember the topic binary fission. There are so many methods that we discussed in bacteria, right? Binary fission, the same formula is applied here. This is a Saccharomyces cell or yeast cell in which, so there are two divisions are taking place. First one, nucleus starts dividing or division and followed by cytoplasm also divided. As a result, you can get two new cells, right? So that is called fission. Fission means a division which starts at the center of the yeast cell. So in which this is a fission is one of the method of vegetative reproduction in which first of all nucleus starts dividing, then followed by the cytoplasm is starting to divide. So as a result, we can get two daughter cells, right? Two cells. So this is called fission, right? It is a reported case of Saccharomyces. It is also known as a yeast cell, right? So this is a mode of reproduction. So in which you can find fission in case of yeast. So this is a right example for fission. I'm talking about vegetative mode of reproduction. So next we pass on to another topic. Another topic, asexual mode of reproduction. Students, please understand, asexual, absence of sex organ like antheridium and oogonium. Here you can say the presence of some spore-like structure, that is some spores are produced. I mean, simply I can say asexual method of reproduction is nothing but it's a type of reproduction that takes place by the formation of spore-like structure, that is called asexual method of reproduction, right? It occurs in fungi, right? So this asexual reproduction is further classified into following types, right? Here I would like to mention the types. Please understand. The first category is Zeus spore. I'm talking about asexual reproduction that takes place by the presence of spore-like structure. The spores are several types. The first type is a Zeus spore, and second type is Conidia spore or Conidia or Conidia spore. And third type is Oidiospore or Oidia. And fourth one is Chlamydospore. Chlamydospore. Because the spore which appears to be like a chlamydomona, hence it is known as a chlamydospore. So the spores are divided into following types. The first type is a Zeus spore, and second type is a Conidia, and third one is a Oidia, and fourth one is a Chlamydospore. So these are all the spores by which a fungi which reproduces its next generation, right? That is called the asexual method. So for each category, I'm going to show you a picture, just you can understand, right? First of all, let me take zoospore. Now, zoospores are nothing, it is a fusion of male gamete and female gamete with the flagella-like structure. Now, this is called a zoospore. If you take a male gamete in which you can find, students, please understand, this is a structure of a zoospore, right? Zoospores are spore that produces zoospores are a kind of male and female gamete spore in which you can see flagella. Now, flagella is a locomotoric structure that are essential for moving from one place to another place, right? During a gamete formation, these gametes, I mean, the male gamete and this symbol designates for female gamete, right? So, both male and female gamete, which are fused to each other with the help of flagella, right? So, this condition is called zoospore, right? The next one, conidiospore. I'm going to show you conidiospore. Conidiospore is a kind of spore in which some fungi which are able to produce next generation, that is a conidiospore. If you take aspergillus and penicillium, you can find this kind of spore, right? Students, please understand, we are dealing different types of spore. So please, you can understand very easily. If you take the mycelium of aspergillus, I have shown you the structure of aspergillus. This is a structure of aspergillus. No, aspergillus, it's a fungus that produces, it's a filamentous like structure which is very long, cylindrical, that is called a conidiospore. This conidiospore further produces certain branches, they are called ramus. Ramus is nothing but as branches, filamentous, branched filamentous. These ramus further gives rise to form other branches, they are called medulla. This medulla gives rise to form simply sterigmata or sterigma. You can say sterigma or sterigmata. This sterigmata gives rise to form a number of spore-like structure that is called a conidia. So here, coming to focus here, this is a conidia. The conidia is a unicellular structure that is able to form next generation. I mean, after separation this conidia from the sterigmata or sterigma, when it falls in a suitable substratum, it develops and forms a new organism. This is one of the method by which an organism produces, right? The next category is the idea. No, idea is this is one of the method of asexual reproduction in which some organism, you can say, a eriscipi, I can say. I'd like to give right example for idea. Eriscipi plant, one of the fungus, that is a eriscipi. Now, eriscipi is one of the fungus that produces idea, a telespore, right? I have taken some pictures to show you. You can understand on seeing the diagram, right? This is a telespore, or eriscipi. This fungus, you can see, right? This is a eriscipi, right? Students, you can understand now. This is a idiospore, right? This idiospore in which you can see this idiom is a separated or branched mycelial part in which this idiom is also similar to that of conidiospore or conidium, but it is also very, as compared to the size of the idiom is very larger than that of conidia, but it is separated and fallen in the suitable substrate and it develops into new organism. So this is a kind of a spore that is it is reported as a eriscipi plant, right? a recipe that I have given here, right? You can understand, right? The next to last one more spore is that is a glandular spore. This glandular spore is also reported in case of fusarium. Actually, as I said, fusarium, it is an iron fungus, right? Fusarium, it is iron fungus that possesses septate. Here you can see a number of cell wall, right? Each cell wall, in between each cell wall, you can see the some cell, it is a resting wall. Actually, the nature of a glandular spore, it has a thick wall. It has a thick wall. The wall is very thick roughness. It's a resting condition, resting period of the thallus. Sometimes the some cells of fusarium, which is covered by a very thick layer, right? So we now to germinate, now to produce, develop into new organism. So this is one of the method of asexual reproduction by which an organism reproduces, right? So this is simply something about asexual method of reproduction. So next we pass on to sexual method of reproduction, right? Before that, we have a very short time, so tomorrow we'll continue sexual method of reproduction. So far, we have discussed only few topics, right? We get started with what is fungi, what is its milestone, and what are the general characteristic features of fungus, and what are the method of reproduction, right? Students, anything else you can ask? Yes, students, am I audible? First of all, did you understand what I taught today?
Yes, sir. మన క్లాస్ ఉన్నప్పుడు మనము అడ్జస్ట్ చేసుకోవాలి కీర్తి అట్లంతా చెప్పరా మాట్లాడకూడదా దాని వచ్చేలేదు ఆ పిల్లకాయ ఇల్లుడిసి వాళ్ళ మామూలు వాళ్ళు మామూలు తెలకుండా తింటుందను సర్ణ్య వాళ్ళు ఏంటి పక్కన బిడ్డలు లేకుండా
Students?
Yes,
sir. Students? I have shown you some thallus, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
What do you mean by hyphae? How did you understand?
Thread-like structure.
Sorry?
So thread-like structure.
Thread-like structure. Good, right. Could you talk about mycelium? Could you share some?
The number of hyphae together form a mycelia.
Very good. Very good. Good. Very good.
ഇതിലെ പണി കാമിതാ
Yes, students, please.
സെഞ്ചി കാമിതിലെ
I request not to make unnecessary activity, right?
ഇതിലെ കാമേ డార్లింగ్ కామిగిర పని కామి
Students. So thank you for joining, students. Now it's time for giving assignment, and take an assignment and try to send it to your respective subject teacher, right? First question, take down, please take down. My dear students, please take down. I'd like to give some question, right? What is mycology? Define xenocytic condition. differentiate anamorph and telomorph. In fourth one, write about the general characteristics of fungi. Thank you for joining, students. Thank you.